I told you! I told you this was coming! What's going on, y'all? It's TCG here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be going over the new ban list that just dropped for the One Piece card game. I said in my ban list prediction video that I thought a ban list was coming. I believe for the TCG, they're going to continue to do these lists at the beginning and middle of each format, and at least if there is a problem or cards that need to be addressed. And if you haven't checked out my ban list prediction video, make sure to go check that out. I'll leave a link to that right above me right here. And if you also haven't checked out my red deck, my red problem video, whatever you want to call it, there's a problem with the card game. I'll leave a link to that right up here as well, where I go over red cards and how strong they are. But before we get into anything, I do want to shout out Dueling Guard. If you haven't heard of Dueling Guard, they are the best TCG accessory company on the market. If you haven't seen them before, they make anime-inspired TCG accessories such as deck boxes, playmats, and binders for all your TCG needs. They are amazing quality and amazing designs. If you haven't seen them before, definitely go check them out. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below, as well as code GUMGUMTCG you can use for a discount at checkout. What? You haven't heard of Dueling Guard? Dueling Guard is the best TCG accessory company on the market. They have high quality deck boxes, binders, and playmats made for people who enjoy playing and collecting trading card games in style. They have tons of designs based off of fan favorite animes such as One Piece, Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, and many more. They hit the ground running earlier this year, making high quality TCG accessories with beautiful designs that have sold out many times. So if you haven't picked up any of their products, make sure to do so before they sell out again. I have a few deck boxes and playmats from them already and can attest to how they don't cut any corners when it comes to quality, performance, and design. I highly recommend their products and use them every time I play cards. Be sure to check the description below for a link to their site and use code GUMGUMTCG for a discount at checkout. Alright, y'all, so if you haven't seen the list, which if you haven't, you're living under a rock. If you play this game, you've definitely seen the list, and I just want to talk about it a little bit. First off, I want to say that I was receiving a lot of flack for saying that a leader card would be banned, and I was right. The first thing we're going to talk about is Edward Newgate. Edward Newgate got put on that chopping block, man. He got tore up. He finally died, and this leader is the first leader to become completely restricted in this card game. This leader has been incredibly strong since its inception and has seen insane amounts of top cut representation throughout many formats. I'm happy about it, to say the least. I think that this leader is just a dominating force. Red decks are so strong and have access to so many different tools, and this one was one of those in particular that was taking up so much of top cuts at tournaments and everything else that he honestly just needed to bite the dust. If he wasn't going to go, then they were going to start hitting every single other red card played in any version of this deck until people stopped playing him. So I think the right thing to do was just to ban him. I know there are a lot of people that are disappointed about this and are upset about this and say that it wasn't completely necessary. However, in my honest opinion, to change the landscape of top cuts at big regionals, treasure cups, even the nationals that are coming up, this card did need to be banned. At least this leader needed to be banned. I think that it's insanely powerful. It's proven to be insanely powerful. And moving into OP05, it doesn't see that much representation. However, I still think that it was a good hit. I think that it did need to come a little earlier than it did, maybe at the beginning of OP04 or like a week into it. But we still got the hit, and now Newgate's dead. But I could see them bringing back this leader a different time, maybe in the future after a couple more sets when power creep has become a thing and this leader just isn't as good as some of the other options out there. However, it might just be a little while until that happens. Well, let's go ahead and get into the next card. Now, this one came as a little bit of a surprise to me. I did talk about this a little bit in my There's a problem video with red cards. Nami. They completely banned Nami Searcher for the Straw Hat Crew archetype. And to me, I think that that's a little crazy. I could see a limit being very nice, but completely banning this card outright feels a little like too much to me. Even though like I don't like red decks, I still feel like this is a little too much. It really limits the deck building capacity for the Straw Hat Crew archetypes, or any deck that is dual color that wants to play Straw Hats, and maybe there's Straw Hats of the other color as well. You know, say you're playing a red-green deck and you want to play the film package as well. Now you don't have your 1-drop Nami Searcher, and you can't add your film cards too. Like, you have to use the 3-cost Nami. But I will say that Nami has had access to insanely powerful strong cards in the Straw Hat Crew archetype. Jet Pistol, Rush Luffy, Rush Zoro, even things such as Chopper. Like, people think of it as very small, like it's a small thing, it's just a 1-cost blocker. Some colors don't even have a 1-cost blocker. And I think that that's where this hit comes into play, you know? This hit was definitely directed more towards Law and Zoro. This was played in versions of Edward Newgate that were playing the, what you would call the Strawbeard version. But this was definitely directed at Law and Zoro, because they would use this to grab their Rush Luffys, their Zoros, their Choppers, their Jet Pistols, things like that. And now that this card is no more, I mean, red decks kind of just fall off. People have been talking about replacing it with the in 2 years at the Sabaody Archipelago. This card, however, the difference is this card only searches characters, where Nami can grab any card. So now you don't have access to your Red Hawks, or your Kick Course, or your Guard Point, or your Jet Pistol, or your one of Rad Beam. And I think that's another reason they wanted to get rid of this, is because Red has access to some of the strongest, if not the strongest, events. And if we type in Straw, I mean, almost all of them are Straw Hat Crew. Like, there's a handful that aren't, but like, we got Red Hawk, we got this Rafflesia card, Radical Beam, Sabaody, Kick Course, Happiness Punch. I smell adventure ahead. That's how a lot of people are feeling about this list. And then Guard Point, Jet Pistol, Jambay, even the new events coming out, and the stage card, the Thousand Sunny. Still had an insanely vast pool of cards. You know, you had your 2K Sanji, you had your Nico Robin, this Brook that some people like to play, your Rush Zoro, you had all the new Alabasta cards, your promo Luffy that's in 2K, you had this Luffy that was, like I said, being played in the Strawbeard versions of Whitebeard. You had your Choppers, you had your Dawn Namis, you had your Vanilla Frankies that people were also playing, your Brooks and other 2K. Nami had access to 12 2Ks. 12 2,000 counters, which is crazy. Rush Luffy, and then even this Zoro that some people are playing in versions of Law, as well as the new 10-drop Monkey D. Luffy coming out in the Ultimate deck. That's another thing I wanted to mention, is that Nami actually was getting an alt-art reprint in the Ultimate deck that we don't even have yet. That comes out next Friday, and for this to just get hit before that even comes out is kind of mind-boggling to me. Like I said, I feel like this can come unrestricted eventually when power creep starts to put a play into things, but for now, I guess they really wanted to hurt these other red decks, you know, like banning Edward Newgate just, I mean, it gets rid of that deck. That deck can no longer be played because the leader is gone. Law and Zoro are still in the room. Okay, well, let's put a big hit to their consistency on the Straw Hat cards. Well, let's get into the next card, which also hurts their consistency incredibly. And that's going to be Curly de Dawn. I mentioned this in my Banlist video as well as the Red Power video. And this card's just insanely strong, being able to grab any 1-drop red character from your deck. This means your Namis, your Izos, your Buggies, your Otamas, your Makinos. Like, this card had so much access to, especially for Law. Zoro used it a lot too, but like Law, getting to grab those cards early game to have, and you get to just keep cycling them for the rest of the game, like Nami, playing Nami, bouncing Nami, searching with Nami 2 times in 1 turn. I mean, Curly de Dawn was the card to get your engines rolling in Zoro and Law. I still think that people are going to be trying to make Law and Zoro work. I feel like it's just going to be hard without two searchers that they were both playing. But I feel like there will be workarounds. People will still try to make the deck viable because of some of the expensive cards that some people have bought, such as the alt-art leaders and things like that. But I do think that this hit was completely necessary as well. I mentioned limiting it. I did say that banning it would work as well, but I mentioned just limiting it. I thought that outright banning it was just a little overkill, but this list is overkill. I'm just going to be honest. They only addressed red on this list, and I feel that that's wrong because now we're just going to see a rise in other decks, and I know I'm going to catch flack for this because, oh, we don't need to touch every single deck. That's just nonsense. It's ridiculous. There's no reason to hit every single card. Yes, that's true. Not every color needs to be touched, but because of these hits, there are going to be a couple top decks left in the room, and I'm going to have another video about that coming out here soon. However, one of those decks is going to be Katakuri. Katakuri is the new top dog, in my opinion, and a lot of people that I've spoken to about this list so far. And yeah, its real problem was how much Whitebeard there was in the room and how dead some of their cards are against that deck. Now that there is no Whitebeard in the room, Katakuri is really going to be able to shine, and we've been seeing buyouts on those cards for Katakuri because of it. Katakuri is an insanely strong leader that has access to insanely broken cards and life manipulation, which is an extremely powerful mechanic of this game. And yeah, I hope y'all are ready for your yellow matchups. If you're not, make sure you're playing a deck that has a good yellow matchup, as well as blue. I feel that blue is going to be coming out of the woodwork with Blue Croc and doing a lot of representation there because of their board control, tempo control style gameplay. But I still do think that Katakuri is going to be the top dog. Anyway, back to Curly Dodon. I do think that touching this card was necessary. Like I said, banning it feels like a little bit of overkill, but they really wanted to hit the consistency of the top three decks, and those top three decks, representation-wise, at big tournaments, was Edward Newgate, Zoro, and Law. So, hitting these three cards, this leader, Nami, and Dodon, hurts all three of those decks, and kind of solves the problem. I mean, like I said, I think people are still going to try and make Law work because there are a lot of other options, but Zoro is going to have a tougher time. I feel that they're going to go to a different strategy, you know, not playing all these small bodies anymore. I might be wrong. They might just load up on Sunny Coons and Sanjis and just try to play without super consistency, you know, searching all the time, and instead they're going to be just playing Buggy and all these other small bodies, and they're gonna make it work. Zoro's not completely gone. Law is not completely gone. They are just wounded, for sure. And then the last card we're going to talk about here is the 5-drop Marco from OP03. I mentioned this in the Red Power video. However, I did not bring this up in the Banlist video because I don't think that it is that powerful. It's a powerful card, and it's definitely hard to get rid of. Once it hits the field, it's almost impossible to get rid of if your opponent just has a bunch of events in hand. However, I don't feel that it's as strong as, let's say, the Blocker Marco or some other cards in the red card pool. However, I felt that this hit was also completely unnecessary. I know that Zoro played it, Newgate played it, and Ace plays it. However, hitting this card, just like I said, still feels a little wrong to me. It is searchable through Ezo and Whitebeard Pirates, so I guess you can still find your one-of copy, because this card is not banned, it's limited. So you can only play one copy of this in your decks from now on. However, like I said, I feel that this is almost unnecessary. I think they were just really trying to put the extra bullet in these decks' heads. Like, it was beating a dead horse at this point, and I think that we didn't have to do that. Now red decks really are crippled, and I don't know. I don't think we're going to be seeing much red representation in the meta at all moving forward. And one thing I do want to mention is, like, we are only a couple weeks away from OP05 releasing in the TCG here, and only 1 week away from the Ultimate deck releasing. So once we have both of those things, the format was going to shift in a way that red was almost phased out. Newgate and Zoro have a really hard time standing up to all the purple decks that are coming out, and have a really hard time dealing with that, as well as the control of Sakazuki and the longevity of Enel. So I feel that doing all of this so close to a new set almost feels like it wasn't worth it. It's overkill. You know, we only had a couple weeks left. There are a couple big tournaments before OP05 comes out, but I mean, the top cut of tournaments moving forward after OP05 comes out is just going to be dominated by now yellow, purple, and then the blue-black Sakazuki. I think that green-purple Dofi is also a very strong deck that's going to be up there as well. Queen is going to have some good representation. Blue Croc is going to be up there. Purple Luffy, red-purple Law still pretty good. Red-purple Kid, the red-purple Luffy, maybe not as much. I feel that this card's just kind of iffy when you don't have 4/9 Beard, but I don't know. If you've got a good list, let me know. I'd love to see it. But like I said, I feel that this was just all a little too late. If they had done this a little earlier, maybe a couple weeks ago, right near the beginning of OP04 format, to let some of these other decks shine for this format, I think that would have been better. But I mean, it's the 2nd of November, and the OP05 set comes out in literally like a month and a couple days. So I don't know. I guess we have a month. Well, this list doesn't go into effect until the 10th of November. So we have a little less than a month of this new OP04.5 format. So if you were sick of red decks, you'll have some time to enjoy a non-red format and a big yellow-blue format. But I'm ready to see some other decks start to hit the spotlight, and I'm hoping that we can see that representation in a few tournaments before OP05 comes out. So if you've got the sauce, let me know. I'd love to see it. You can post it in my Discord. And if you're not in my Discord, make sure to join the Discord. We're trying to get to 100 members. Once we get 100 members, I'm going to be doing a free box tournament for the all my Discord members. It is US only, but if you get into the Discord before we hit 100 members, you're eligible to play. And then I also want to say that we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we're so close. We're like halfway there right now. So if you like this kind of content, if you haven't checked out my other content, make sure to go check that out. Definitely subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and once we do, if we hit that before the end of the year, I will be giving away a free box of OP05 to one lucky US subscriber. So make sure that you're subscribed by the end of the year, and if we hit that goal and you live in the US, you have a chance at winning a free box. But as we say around here, all my homies hate red decks, and I think our hatred was a little too strong. Bandai also hates red decks, apparently, and they have put this era of this game into the ground, and it is now going to be dominated by yellow. And that's my opinion. If you have another take, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Post it down in the comments below. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. And I hope you all are ready to enjoy a new format for just a little under a month. And if you are, I hope you got a good answer for yellow. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.